Welcome to the Master Dealmaker's Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmaker's Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 136, and today we're going to be talking about how to handle the 3 most common objections that you are likely to get. So before we do that, if you've got leads in your pipeline and you want to convert more of those into sales, I want you to head over to johnblakeaudio.com where you can get your free audio training where you will learn the exact strategy that you can use to double sales with your existing leads. This is the exact same strategy that I have been refining now for over 20 years. It's exactly what I teach my high-ticket clients when they first start with me, the ones that stay for 12 months and have me coach them. This is the first thing we do to create a quick win in their business. It's over at johnblakeaudio.com. Not only will you get the audio training that shows you exactly what to do, exactly what to say, exactly what to write, what you'll also get is a PDF that's got the exact word-for-word scripts that you can cut and paste and apply in your emails when you call people, plus exactly when to call and when to email over a 90-day period so that you can maximize your conversions. This is super valuable. It will work for you once you put it into place, and I look forward to hearing your success story. Okay, so as promised, we're going to talk about objections. Now, my philosophy on objections is that if you use the system that I teach well and you use it properly, you are very unlikely to experience objections. You are unlikely to get them. If you use what I teach properly, you are unlikely to get objections in the first place. But if you do, you need to have a strategy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through effectively the things that you need to cover off on to lower your chances of getting an objection in the first place. And then I'm going to walk you through the strategies that you can use for pretty much the 3 biggest objections that you're going to get. The first one that you're going to get is finance. Second one you're going to get is I need to talk to somebody. And then the third one that you're likely to get is I need to think about it, or I'm not sure whether now is the right time. So the 10 clarities. I learned this from Eli Wild. So credit where credit's due. Guy in the States. And a lot of a big body of work around sales, persuasion, does a lot of selling from the stage. And I learned these 10 clarities, and what was interesting is that the majority of them I cover off on in the Strike Sales Framework that I teach. But I think it's really worth knowing, it's worth understanding what these 10, they're like 10 doors that you need to close in order, or really before you make an offer. So if you can get clarity on these 10 things before you actually make an offer, you maximize your opportunity to actually make a sale. So if you haven't actually taken or ticked off on these 10 areas, then by rights you shouldn't really make an offer, because there's places that the person can retreat to if you haven't actually taken them through these 10 different areas. And effectively what you're also doing is you're actually qualifying. As you take people through these areas, you're actually qualifying them. So the first one is the person needs to have expressed to you some sort of pain, some sort of problem, or some sort of challenge. And so we need to uncover what that is, and we need to delve into, what is the impact of that particular problem, that particular challenge, or that particular pain point. The second part is we need to establish trust. So they need to trust you, they need to trust themselves, and they need to trust the company that you represent, or they need to trust your company. So there needs to be an element of trust there. The third one is that we need to explore the cost of doing nothing, because as you may have heard me say before, until the cost of doing nothing becomes greater than the investment in your particular product or service, the person will stay where they are. They simply will not have the motivation to invest the time, to invest the energy, and to invest the money into making a change. So the cost of inaction is number 3. Then we've got the destination. So they need to express a goal once you've worked out what the pain is, once you've established trust, and once you've worked out the cost of inaction. You need to understand, okay, well, we've talked about a problem, we've talked about pain, and we've talked about a challenge. But we also need to know, where is the destination? Where is the goal? Where do you want to be as a result of fixing this stuff? We also need to make sure that we cover off on roadblock. What stopped them previously? Is that thing likely to stop them again? Number 6 is timing. So, is this a now thing or is this a later thing? Hopefully they're going to say it's a sooner thing. And then the 7th one is the spouse and the partner. As I said, we're going to drill down more on that in a sec. Number 8 is doubt. So, are they likely to be able to do this on their own? Even asking, say, why haven't you been able to take care of this on your own? Why do you need help with this? Because, well, I've failed, I haven't been able to do it on my own. Okay. So we need to cover off on the doubt. Number 9, we need to get clear on their coachability or their willingness to change, their willingness to do something different to get a better result or a different result. And number 10, we need to make sure that they actually have the finances available. So if we can cover off on all 10 of those things, we are unlikely to get an objection in the first place. But if we do, here's what you do, right? So if someone says, oh, look, it's more than what I had to spend, effectively a finance objection, the first thing you need to do is to actually qualify it. And by qualify it, what I mean is people either have a finance objection because they don't see the value in what you're offering. So, in other words, it's more than what they were prepared to spend because they don't see the value in your particular product or service, in which case you need to do one of two things. You need to establish why it's valued the way it is, or you need to go back to the actual pain and the cost of doing nothing. So firstly, we need to go, okay, well, is it simply more than what you were prepared to spend today, or is it more than what your budget will allow, or do you simply not perceive that it's actually as valuable as the fee that we are asking for it is? So once we've established that, then we can go, okay, well, I know that you told me that this is actually something that you really wanted. So let's assume that it's just out of their budget, right? One of the best things that you can do is to offer installments. Is to offer some sort of a payment plan. If they like it, if they see the value, but it's just more than what they've actually got available funds wise. One of the best things that you can do is to spread out the investment. What I know is that on those infomercials, when they have the 5 easy installments of $97, that creates a huge shift in their results. That converts way better than just offering the fee up front. So at that point, you can then say, okay, well, look, if you're happy to take care of it in installments, what did you have in mind? And they can come back to you and say, well, can I take care of it over the next couple of months, whatever? And then you can come to an arrangement, get confirmation, and move forward. If they say, well, I still can't afford it, and you can say, well, if we can put money aside for a sec here, is this still something that you want? Is this still something that you think could work? The person says yes. You say, okay, well, why do you think it could work? And now, when you put it, say, well, why do you think it could work? Now what they're doing is they're actually justifying to you why they think this is a good idea. But they're also justifying it, more importantly, to themselves. And then from there, you can say, okay, well, look, what are some other ways that we could potentially come up with the extra? Because in most cases, you can say, well, how much more is it than what you had allocated, that you thought? And they, well, okay, well, it's $4,000 more or whatever. It's like, well, what are some other possible ways that you could explore to get access to the resources or the credit that you need to make this work? And then at that point, the person's told you that they want to go ahead. They've told you why they want to go ahead, and in that moment, they can actually start to think about some different ways that they can take care of the investment in your particular product or service. So there's a couple of different ways that you can deal with the finance objection. The next one is the spouse objection, or the business partner. I have to talk to my business partner. And say, okay, well, look, that's not a problem. I know that you said that they were, really excited. I mean, because again, this objection shouldn't come up. You should be able to say, at the front end, other than yourself, who else is involved in the decision-making process? And if there is somebody else involved in the decision-making process, what I always recommend that you do is that you put the handbrake on and rebook a time when they're both going to be there. So in a situation where you've asked them throughout the process, you've said, in terms of your 10 clarities, you've said, does your partner know that we're having this conversation, or is this something that we're talking about without that particular person's knowledge? And if they say, oh, no, he knows, you say, okay, well, have you told him how you feel about it? And you say, yeah, no, they're happy. It's like, okay, well, I have to go and check with that person. Righto. So you said that they were excited. Is this just to let them know your rationale for wanting to move forward, or is it to include them before you make, the financial decision? So again, you're starting to drill down and go, okay, well, why is it that you want to talk to that person? Do you just want to keep them involved, or do you need to okay the actual investment? You say, okay, whatever answer that they give you, you can say, okay, well, if they are not understanding, if they're not supportive of your reasons for wanting to do this, what are you going to say? Right. So again, you're getting them to come back to you with the justification for wanting to go ahead. And then at this point, you can actually potentially give them some coaching on how to have that conversation. You can say, and normally what you want to do is you want to give them three really powerful things. You can say, well, the first one is that it's going to allow you to do this. Second thing is going to allow you to do this. And the third thing is going to allow you to do this. So then from there you can say, okay, well, so from what I'm hearing, it sounds like, they are probably going to be okay with it if you say those three things. And then you could potentially add a couple of more things that they could say. So essentially you're giving them some coaching on how to have that conversation with their spouse. And then at that point you can either, get them to schedule a call with that particular person, or you could get them to give that person a call while you wait. And then from there you can, that gives you a couple of different options that you can move forward with. So that's a good way to go. So, give them some things that they can, say to that particular person, and obviously schedule a second call, or you can potentially say, get them to actually tell you the reasons why they want to go ahead, and then potentially go ahead, and you could get them to confirm with you later if you needed to. You could get them to perhaps, put down some sort of a deposit, and then you can say to them, well, if they're not supportive, you can come back and we can cancel the deposit. Because when they make a micro commitment, especially as it relates to an investment, they are more likely to make the major commitment, further down the line. So that's the spouse one. And then in terms of timing, this is actually, often people will say, oh yeah, I'm just saying this right time, I want to give it a couple of weeks or whatever. And you can say, well, look, you did say to me that this is something that you really wanted, and you did say to me that timing wise, you wanted to do this sooner rather than later. Is there, is it just nerves at this particular point in time, or is there something else that you haven't shared with me? And this is the benefit of having gone through those 10 clarities. You can say, look, before you said that you were, you wanted, this was a sooner thing for you and you wanted to get it done. Is that still the case, or is there something else that perhaps we haven't talked about yet? And if they say, oh, no, I still want to do it, you can say, well, and at this point you can go back to the pain. And you can say, well, look, the cost of inaction. It's like what you said to me is that this is costing you X, per day, or this is costing you X per week, or this is costing you X per month. why do you want to wait? It's not going to make it any better, So, so then, from there you could then ask for the commitment. You can say, so what is it that's stopping you from go ahead? In fact, what you could do is you could say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst conversation that you've ever had and you want to get off the call straight away, and 10 being ready to go, where would you place yourself? And if they say, a 7 or an 8, rather than saying, well, what would we need to get you to a 9 or a 10, one of the best things you can say at that point is, so, why didn't you say 1 or 2? Because then at that point, they then start to justify why this is a good idea. And again, if they're in that pattern of justifying, why this is a good idea, they're a lot more likely at the end of that justification. You can say, well, look, sounds like it's that the timing is right, and that it probably is the right thing to do. Where do you want to go from here? And at that point, there's a better chance that they'll say, I think I will go ahead. So, at the end of any of these objection handling sequences, if they say, well, look, I really do need to go and check with such and such, or, I really do want to, give it a couple of days, or, I need to go and check to make sure that I can get the finances or whatever. One of the best things you can say is, okay, so when ideally would you like to continue the conversation? And then they give you a time. They'll say, give me a week or give me a couple of days. And you go, okay, cool. So a couple of days takes us up to Friday. Does that work, or would you prefer Monday? And they go, and then they'll tell you. They'll say, Friday's good. And you go, okay, great. So would the morning suit you better, or would the afternoon suit you better? And they can say, they'll probably say, the morning. You say, okay, will 10 o'clock work? And they can go, yep. You go, okay, well, look, I know you're really busy. I am totally flat out. And so that I can make sure that we actually get each other, what I might do is send you through a calendar invite for like 3 minutes or 5 minutes for 10 o'clock on Friday. And then that way you'll be in my diary. I'll make sure I don't forget. We can chat then, and you can let us know what you'd like to do. So, the whole objection thing, there's all sorts of different schools of thought on this, where you take them over and over and over and again in a loop. And look, I've done all those things, but sometimes people have legitimate reasons for wanting to go and talk to their spouse, or for wanting to wait, or for wanting to go and double check finances. What the best thing that you can do really is to just try and put a as close to a 24-hour time limit on it as possible, so that you don't end up chasing somebody forever. And then of course the other one is actually making a specific time on a specific day, when it is that you're going to talk to them. And the third one is actually making it their idea, by saying, so when would you like to continue the conversation? So at that point, you are calling them at a time that they have actually said was good for them, when they actually did want to talk to you. So I hope this helps. And again, I thank you very much for listening, and I will look forward to talking to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker's Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies to maximize your sales process with new episodes every week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive free no-fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.